We pretty much knew Steve Nash was leaving Phoenix. It was just a matter of where he'd go. In a move that has Suns fans irked at both Nash and the Phoenix organization, the two-time MVP has landed with the Lakers. Is it the most painful superstar exit in Suns history? We'll toss that around next on this edition of the Arizona Sports Face-Off.
I'm Adam Green. This is Vince Marotta. And Steve Nash's departure was pretty tough on both of us. I think you, Vince, wrote a column about it on ArizonaSports.com.
I did.
But we were thinking, is it the most painful exit? And personally, I think Charles Barkley's departure from the Phoenix Suns was the most painful for Suns fans. You disagree. Tell me why.
Steve Nash was the face of the Phoenix Suns for 8 years, double the time that Charles Barkley was in town.
True.
He was here for 10 years, a huge portion of his career, two-time MVP. Some of the best Suns teams were under the controls of Steve Nash while he played point guard. I just think time, duration with the franchise had something to do with it. Barkley swept into town, was here for three really good seasons, one forgettable season, and then, well, we know what happened when he left town.
We do, but I think in a way you're wrong is that the longevity that Steve Nash was in town made this easier on Suns fans because he had given the organization, he had given the fans all he could. The Suns weren't any good when he left. They're a lottery team. Charles Barkley left a playoff team. Steve Nash, what more was there to do with Phoenix? The fact that he went to the Lakers, very disappointing. But the fact that he left at all, okay, I think most people have understood why he did that. But Barkley demanded to be traded. It was basically trade me or I'm going to retire from the Suns. And the Suns were still Jerry Colangelo's team, first-class organization. They weren't as great when he left as they were before, like years prior to his departure. But they were still the Phoenix Suns that were a good team, whereas Steve Nash left a lottery team.
I think there is a similarity between the two scenarios because the end of the era was clear in both cases. The way that came to the end of the era was different. Everybody knew in 1996 that Barkley wanted out of Phoenix. Yep. Everybody knew in 2012 that Nash wasn't going to be a member of the Phoenix Suns. The strategies by the players were different. Barkley took a flamethrower to everything involved in the Suns organization. He nearly burned a bridge, nearly was left out of the Ring of Honor, and it took a really long time to patch that up. Steve Nash, however, has said nothing even remotely negative about the Suns organization through this whole process, which makes the fact that he did land with a rival, the Los Angeles Lakers, when ultimately he could have gone anywhere else.
True.
And the Suns bent over backwards to help him too. That makes it so much more painful to me. I think fans just wanted Barkley gone. They didn't care where he went, even though in '96 Suns fans despised the Houston Rockets.
Right, and they despised the Rockets for a reason because when you look at Charles Barkley left the Suns to go to the team that eliminated his Suns 2 years in a row in 1994 and 1995. The Suns blew a 2-0 series lead in '94, a 3-1 series lead. They lost a Game 7 at America West Arena. I was at that game. Mario Elie, kiss of death, painful. Whereas Steve Nash's rival wasn't the Lakers. Now maybe Suns fans feel the Lakers are their biggest rival, but the Lakers eliminated the Suns one time in the postseason during Steve Nash's run, and that was in 2010. Otherwise, the Suns were beating the Lakers up every year, it seemed like, in the postseason. Now, if he had left for the Spurs, that would be a different story because that was Steve Nash's rival. But Charles Barkley's rival during his time with the Suns was the Houston Rockets, and that's the team he went to join with Clyde Drexler and Hakeem Olajuwon. In the return, they got Chucky Brown, Sam Cassell, Robert Horry, Mark Bryant. I don't know if the draft picks the Suns got from the Lakers are going to be any good, but that return that they got from Houston.
Newsflash, they're not.
They're not, but that return, especially Robert Horry, now when you think back that Robert Horry was a Phoenix Sun, that's brutal.
They were able to flip those players into other trades, though, trades
True.
that eventually brought Jason Kidd into the fold, and the Suns didn't miss the playoffs. What happens now is Steve Nash leaves this team, and we knew it was coming again. He could have went to Miami, he could have went to New York. The reality would be the same. The Suns don't have any commodities on this team really to help the rebuilding process. They don't have anybody to spin off in a trade to a different team to expedite that process. It's just not going to happen. And that's another reason why this is more painful for me.
Well, I think just we talked about earlier, the end of an era. We knew it was Steve Nash's time to move on. The Suns were not a very good team with Steve Nash. They're probably not going to be a very good team without him. The Phoenix Suns ended up surviving the Barkley departure for a little while anyway. They had their ups and downs, but they figured it out because they were able to get something for one of the top 50 players in the NBA. Maybe not the case with Steve Nash. That remains to be seen, which is the way it happened. So brutal with Charles Barkley. You almost felt like he had unfinished business in Phoenix because he didn't win that championship when the Suns teams that he was leading were some of the best in the NBA, if not for injuries and other kind of factors. And similar with Nash, But if not for so many other outside factors, you get the feeling Charles Barkley would have won a championship.
I think
here.
one of the reasons that the blow is softened with the Barkley instance is that everybody thought, all right, Barkley's going to Houston, they have Olajuwon, they have Drexler, they're going to win titles. They fell on their face. 2 years they were ousted in the first round of the playoffs. His last year in Houston, they didn't make the playoffs.
He got injured too.
Yeah, and he was a shell of his former self. I think right now, and I say this in July of 2012, in the next 3 years, the Lakers are going to win one title, maybe two.
I think so.
I think they will.
But either way, neither one of the departures was good.
Yeah.
But just Charles Barkley, when you talk about burning bridges, as a Suns fan who had a Charles Barkley jersey and was all about, that's when I became a real sports fan, a real Suns fan, was the Barkley years. To see him leave the way he did without winning a championship, to go to the team that I had watched eliminate the Suns, that was the worst.
Oh, this face-off's all about pain. Which hurt more for you, Charles Barkley's exit from the Suns when he just took a flamethrower to the organization in '96, or Steve Nash wearing that pukey gold of the Los Angeles Lakers in 2012? Find us on the face-off page at arizonasports.com, and you vote. Let us know what you think was the most painful superstar exit in Suns history. For Adam Green, I'm Vince Marotta. We'll see you next time right here on the Arizona Sports Face-Off.